Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. And let's talk today about one of those tough interview questions that's really designed to blindside you. Now, this is not one of those hedge fund questions. This is just one of those standard interview questions that shows up from time to time. And I want to make sure you're prepared for it. So here's the question. How would someone who doesn't like you describe you? Boing. For most people, that's a shocker question. Number one, it's hard to think of people not liking you in the workplace. Number two is, how do you explain that to the interviewer? Number three is, you can't use the pat answer. The pat answer is, hey, everyone likes me. There's never a problem with any of my coworkers. You can't use an answer like that. It's ridiculous. There's always someone who has a disagreement with you. Now, here's a way to play it, and understand it can be done in either direction. So, for example, you're working with someone who's somewhat analytical. You can say, that's a great question. I really haven't thought of that. Remember, it's an acting job as part of answering questions. So you want to kind of appear as though you're taken off guard, even though you have a way of answering the question. So again, you go, oh, that's a great question. I really haven't thought of that. Let me just take a moment. Okay. I know with a coworker who's somewhat analytical and wants to look at a problem from a lot of directions, they may find it uncomfortable to deal with someone like me who likes to charge right in and is able to figure things out on the fly to be able to move things along. Or and that's great in a sales role. So if you're in a public role where you're doing selling, that's a great answer. On the other hand, you can also say, for those who like to charge right in, I like to look at the problem from a couple of different directions to ensure that we don't unintentionally cause harm along the way or do things that are going to be completely ineffectual. I'd rather take a moment to evaluate things before taking action. After all, generally, all of us are time stressed. So I'd rather do something one time extremely well than repeatedly do things to correct mistakes. So again, you can do this in either direction, but the idea is never diminish the question by saying, I've never had a problem with anyone at work. No one will believe it, and they'll just think you're lying to them, and you'll hurt yourself in the interview. On the other hand, if you acknowledge difference and explain how you function, that can go a long way toward winning the job. So this is Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did and you're watching on YouTube, share it, leave a comment, click the like button. Just do something that lets people know it was worthwhile. I also want to encourage you to come over to thebiggamehunter.us. Again, that's thebiggamehunter.us, because they have tons of free content there. More videos for YouTube, podcasts of Job Search Radio and No BS Job Search Advice Radio. You can receive complimentary subscriptions to No BS Job Search Advice and No BS Hiring Advice, which I give away for free. Plus, you can also read previous articles from each of those e-zines at my website as well. So come over to the Big Game Hunter and go exploring. And while you're there, search positions I'm recruiting for. You can post your resume to a lot of sites from mine. You have access to easy to work with career builder links, access to Job Search Universe and Indeed, both of which search thousands of other sites for job leads. There's information about my books and guides to job hunting. A lot of good content and a lot of good tools to help you with your job search. So come over to thebiggamehunter.us and go exploring. Final points. First of all, if your firm's trying to hire someone, send me an email at the address below. Let me know who to contact and whether to mention your name. I love to help your firm staff positions. If we're not already connected on LinkedIn, send me a connection request. The address is linkedin.com/in/the-big-game-hunter. Finally, if you have questions about job hunting, you're not alone. Most people do, but they make the mistake of contacting people who don't really know how to give don't really know the right information. You talk to a friend who's looked for a job. You talk to a former manager who's looked for a job. They've done that a couple of times in their career. They've failed on some interviews. I'm a subject matter expert. I've helped over 1,100 people find work over the course of my career. So, would you rather talk to an amateur and get an amateur's perspective on job search, or get the advice of an expert? Obviously, you want an expert's advice. So if you'd like me to help you with answering your questions, contact me through liveperson.com. That's LIVE person.com, where I'm a job search and career coaching expert. So this is Jeff Altman. Hope you have a great day. Take care.